Hi everyone, it's Sue. I have a question for you today. What do a mermaid, a baby, and a leaf all have in common? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Got an answer? Well, it's actually a trick question. They have nothing in common. Well, what was the point of that wacky exercise, you might ask? Well, it's to show you that sometimes three totally unrelated items can in fact come together to make something quite beautiful and unique and creative, which is a great segue into my favorite challenge of the month. It's Wacky Wednesday! And for you newbies who don't know what Wacky Wednesday is, the first Wednesday of every month, I get you, the subscribers, to suggest to me three totally unrelated items. They don't even have to be crafty items, and I have to put them together into some kind of art piece or home decor item. Sounds pretty wacky, doesn't it? But sometimes some amazing things can come out of these challenges. So today's Wacky Wednesday challenger is Jessica's DIY&MORE, and she says that her daughter helped her pick out these three items. And they are cotton balls, Q-tips, and a foam plate. So if you would like to see what artistic creation I come up with using those three items, let's get started. So make sure you watch to the end of the video because there's a little bonus feature at the very end. So I'm starting with a foam plate and some Q-tips and cotton balls that I got in this little set from the Dollar Tree. And I thought I would use a canvas to put these masterpiece items on. When looking at the foam plate, it kind of reminded me of a sunrise. So I thought I would cut the plate in half and use part of that as my canvas. So I put down some wax paper to protect my work surface and just took a roll of tape and created a semicircle where I thought my sun, the main part of my sun, should be, and I outlined it with a pencil. Then I proceeded to use some yellow and red paint to paint my sun. When the sun was done, I let it dry and took some of my Q-tips and put a layer of brown paint just on the stick of the Q-tip. Then while it was still wet, I put another layer of green on just to make it look more wood-like. Then I let them dry. Next, I took my Dollar Tree canvas and just took some dark blue acrylic paint and light blue acrylic. And I just started with the light blue at the top for the sky and the dark blue at the bottom for the water, and just made them meet to make an ombre effect across the canvas. Then I just took a little bit of black acrylic paint and painted some shadows in the water to give it some depth. Then I took a bit of yellow and red and painted the reflection of the sun on the top of the water. Now while I waited for that to dry, I just took my dried Q-tips and took one end and painted some brown around them to make some cattails. And I purposefully let some of the white show through just because it looked like some of the cattails had started to pop. Then I let them dry completely. Once everything was dry, I took some tacky glue and just glued my sunset on top of the horizon. Then I cut off the unpainted ends of my Q-tips with some scissors, placed them in bunches of 3 where I'd like my cattails to be, and glued them on with some tacky glue as well. Next, I pulled apart a couple of cotton balls and glued them on for clouds as well. I also took a tiny bit of cotton, fluffed it out, and glued it underneath the cattails to build it up a little and look like a little mound of dirt with some water splashing up. I used a few more tiny bits of the cotton ball to make some ripples in the water. I lightened up my reflection in the water with some more yellow, and then I took some brown and green and just colored over the little mounds of dirt underneath the cattails. I also took a tiny bit of yellow and red and brushed that into the clouds to have the sun reflecting in them as well. And there you have my 3D Wacky Wednesday sunset picture. I hope you enjoyed it. Now stay tuned for the bonus feature. So I had a few requests to show the inside of my Bob Ross board game that I got for Christmas, so I thought I would oblige. So you can see the cover with Bob and his afro and the lovely little mountains in the background. And once I opened it up, inside the lid were just some pictures of different paint brushes and paints that he would be using. We ended up playing this game at New Year's Eve with my boys, and there's actually more to it than I thought. So once you open it up, there are the instructions with the picture of Bob in his studio there painting his happy little trees. The instructions were a little bit complicated, but once you got playing, it wasn't too bad. So it did come with a little pop-up plastic easel, which I thought was really, really cute, and a chill meter. And every player gets a palette. So there are little color-coded markers that indicate whether or not you've painted a feature or not. And each person gets 3 or 4 of those in their own color. Then you have a Bob die, which has a picture of him on it, plus a card and a hand and a few other features. And each person has their little marker that they move along the chill meter, so you want to get from stressed out to chill in order to win. There are also painting technique cards that you can gain to get yourself some bonus points. And the chill cards are like chance cards that have things like, when this card is revealed, all players may play a paint to their palette. And there's also sage advice from Bob Ross on the bottom. If painting does nothing else, it should make you happy. Also, there are art supply cards that have brushes and different paints on them. And the part I like best are actual Bob Ross paintings, and it tells you the different features in each painting, such as the happy little clouds, a little mountain, or a cabin, and what paints and what brushes you need to do each feature. So basically you draw cards and try to collect the correct paints and brushes that you need to finish each feature, and once you finish all the features, you finish the painting. But you want to try to do this before Bob beats to it. And the little Bob figure moves along every time you roll a Bob, and if he gets to the end of the painting before you're finished, the game is temporarily over and you have to switch to a new painting. So it is kind of complicated at first, but once you get the hang of it, it really is quite relaxing. And you move yourself around the board until you get to a calm sense of serene and chill. So hopefully you guys pick up this game, and maybe we could play a virtual game somehow, maybe on a live stream. So if you have any ideas for a live stream that you would like to see me do, put it down in the comments section below. And hopefully you enjoyed my Wacky Wednesday video, and I'll see you next time on Discovering the Art of Living.